Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations for the new comic books on this a lovely Wednesday in December.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get right to it, Fritz, because there are a lot of books.
Yeah, and I think all returning champions this week for picks, I think.
Ooh, yes, You're right.
So my pick is Gods issue 3. So the first two issues for this were kind of like a lot of like setting like the table for what this whole thing's going to be with the different like factions of like the two groups that are kind of like in this kind of like Cold War between magic and science.
Mm-hmm.
And so now that we've kind of got that like on the table, it looks like that whole table's about to get like someone's about to pull the tablecloth out from under everyone.
Interesting.
Because in this issue, we're starting to see kind of like the wider conflict that might start to engulf them with like other gods getting brought in. We've got like some shenanigans going on at the Library Between Worlds. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Let me double check here. A Library of Worlds. Yeah,
Of Worlds.
I forgot there's a cute little frog in like a suit.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
there is. Yeah.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I'm super excited now because I think I know I picked the first issue. I think I might have picked the second issue. I can't remember, but like Hickman does like weird high concept stuff so well.
Yeah.
And now that you can kind of like see where that weird high concept stuff is going, I love Win because he's so sassy.
Yeah.
I love Dimitri and Mia get to meet in this issue, and it's very interesting because one, we kind of get a bit more of an idea of like how Dimitri is as a character, like outside of just being like Win's like apprentice assistant.
Oh, yeah.
Like, but Mia, like she's new to all this and doesn't seem to understand fully what's going on, which is a real shame because who they meet at the bar is not someone who's just like dipping their toes into stuff should probably be meeting.
Gotcha.
But there's future vision shenanigans. There's some great callbacks to some of Hickman's other work on like Avengers and that. The art from Skeety is just gorgeous as always.
Yeah.
If you are loving Doctor Strange, his main title, which was also great this week, he's great in here. Just all around, I'm very excited for this because like there's some of these kind of like Ewing kind of touched on this in some of his like Ultimates stuff where you've got like these higher concept beings like the in-betweener, like those kind of just like abstractions that kind of interact with like humanity.
Yep.
And like and I don't know, this series is delving into a lot more, and that's one of the things I loved with like Ultimate. So the fact that there's just a series all about that now is super cool to me. It's kind of a dense book, which is also something you expect from a Hickman book. There's a lot of talking, but it's that kind of like, it's those conversations where you're just kind of like on the edge, just like waiting to see where it goes next, because like you just know like it's leading to something big happening.
Yeah.
And spoiler, something big happens. Maybe it's the end of the world. Who knows? But
oh, wow, that never happens in comic books. Heroes are never staving off the end of the world.
I'm super excited for this book every month. They've been teasing it for like a year and a half, and
yeah,
well deserved because it has not disappointed at all since coming out.
Well, Hickman's just killing it.
Yeah,
so much from the X-Men to this new Ultimate universe.
Which
gods.
Spoiler alert: Ultimate Spider-Man comes out next month. It'll probably be on here.
Yeah. We did order a lot of copies, but if you're interested, you should probably let us know to make sure that you get your copy set aside. I'm super excited for that book.
Yeah, same thing for Ultimate Black Panther. I know we're starting to fill up on orders for that too.
Yeah,
so
that should be a good one too. Yeah,
but
fantastic.
But speaking of gods and returning champions,
yes,
over to you, Patrick.
You cannot stop me from picking Wonder Woman. have I picked every issue so far?
I think we maybe didn't do issue 3, but otherwise, yeah, pretty much like I know issue 1 and 2 were definitely on here.
Well, and then we went back and got the
that's right. Yeah, you did
the larger.
Yeah, you did.
I think that was our consensus pick. Actually, was the issue 1 and 2.
I think it actually was the first 3 issues.
Was it the first 3? Okay.
Oh, no, I think it was the first 2 because I think issue 3 also came out that week. Point being, Wonder Woman keeps showing up here with good reason.
So the continuation of this whole story that the United States has this shadow king that's actually running the government behind the scenes. There's a great interaction with him and the president. It's not it's not based on a real president of the United States. It's just kind of like in movies when they never really show the face of the president clearly, and it's just kind of a voice talking, kind of that kind of thing. But that is, it was uncomfortable to witness that,
Well, that's one of the things
it made me angry.
That's one of the things I love this issue, because it keeps flip-flopping between like some of the like sweetest, most heartfelt things you've ever read in a Wonder Woman comic, and just like this creeping sense of dread. Yeah,
so Wonder Woman basically does a Make-A-Wish come true kind of thing for a young boy who loves Wonder Woman and everything about her, like her biggest fan is basically. Yeah. And dying of some terminal condition. Meanwhile, his parents are not really sure about her because the whole country has turned against her. So if you read the last issue, the King of the United States set this plan in motion to undermine her popularity, and it's working extremely well. So yeah, you've got this juxtaposition of these two different stories that are happening at the same time of what Wonder Woman is doing with her day and what everybody who's plotting against her is doing, and some of the ripple effect and ramifications of that.
It's who Wonder Woman is versus what people want Wonder Woman to be so they can like attack her, basically.
Yes.
Like I don't know, it's very
well, like she's not like on any side. The Amazons are not happy with her right now.
No, yeah. Which I do love the whole interaction where someone's just like, listen, Diana just kind of does what she wants. Like, nothing really doing about it.
Yeah, it's great. And, Steve is having to put up with everything that's going on with Wonder Woman's public persona and reputation and whatever. And it's just really interesting.
Amanda Waller gets to show up.
Has a great line. That whole scene was really good. Her appearance in here really put in kind of an interesting twist. I'm very curious to see how Waller's role in this whole bigger story is going to go. It got a lot more interesting.
Yeah, it kind of sounds. It gives the impression that like she'll be more involved going forward.
Yeah. The art again is just perfect. It is so good. Wonder Woman, all the emotions of Wonder Woman. In this one, it's a lot of sensitivity and empathy and kindness and caring. Whereas in previous issues, particularly issue number 2, strength and power. And it's just the range in this book is so good. I'm just loving everything about it. And this is another one of those where the colors are just perfect. They just, when they need to be a little softer, they're a little softer. When they need to be a little bolder, they're a little bolder. And hey, Invisible Jet is back. Yeah, love it.
Love it.
And the execution of the Invisible Jet here made a lot more sense. It's not just like a glass jet, which I always thought was weird. Like, that's not invisible, that's translucent.
I also love the little backup story they started last issue they're doing, where it's just like, because one of the whole part of the whole framing device is in the future, like the King of the United States is like relating the story to Trinity, Wonder Woman's daughter, and they're doing these little backup issues where it's about John and Damian like kind of being her babysitters and them having these like wacky little adventures.
Yeah, well, and they keep going back to Diana's going to kill us if she finds out about this because of the way that they're
spoiler alert, they're not great babysitters.
No,
great superheroes.
Yeah.
Real bad babysitters.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Yeah, everything about this book is good. If you haven't been reading this, you really should. It's and a lot of the customers that we have that are getting it, they say it's the first book that they pick up because it's just, Tom King is killing it. Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, so we've got a Hickman book, we've got a King book. It feels like we're missing somebody big that ends up on this show a lot. So.
Also true. Yeah. It's your boy Tinian, James Tinian, with the new issue of Deviant. Also,
so it's a Christmas story.
Yeah, it certainly is a Christmas story.
Yeah, lots of bodies wrapped up in Christmas lights anyway.
To be fair, only really one in this issue.
One in this issue, yes. Two referred to.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so kind of recap on the previous issue. Got this comics where he's like interviewing this supposed serial killer who, I don't know, the more we're getting into this, the more I'm like, maybe wasn't the serial killer?
I don't trust Tinian, so I'm leaving my opinions open.
Yeah.
But yes, that's definitely the impression that we're getting.
Yeah, there definitely seems to be something else going on with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So in the first one, we weren't quite sure, like, is this supernatural kind of thing going on? Is this just a psychopath? What's happening?
Is there maybe like some kind of conspiracy?
Is there a conspiracy? Because there's just this tall, thin, creepy Santa wearing like a porcelain mask looking kind of thing with a hatchet that likes to hack people up.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people. It was just this kind of, so far as we know, it was just the one murder and then the dude that found the bodies, right?
Yeah. But like, and like, kind of like a big core of this issue is the writer. Like last issue, we saw him interviewing the killer in prison. This issue where he gets to like interview one of the cops that like helped catch the guy. And boy, is this guy a piece of work. Like just like...
Oh, right, yeah. That's right. I forgot that he was a cop at the time and came into the barn and got hit in the face with an axe.
Yeah. Like, he's something.
So, and the main character in the story, the writer, is a comic book writer. He's trying to write a comic book about this. And the first interview with the serial killer, he thinks goes horribly bad. So that's kind of where we open it up. And... yeah, it's really interesting because we're hearing about this murder. When was it? In the 90s?
I think it was like more like the 70s or 80s.
Okay. And it happened in Milwaukee?
Yeah, which obviously, if you know anything about serial killer history here in America, that I think I mentioned this last time, that the 70s and 80s were like the time for like serial killers here. That's when like all the like big ones that everyone knows were happening. And Milwaukee specifically, if you know of a certain Netflix series that came out like this year or last year, it has its own history of very horrifying serial killers.
Yeah. So we get to see the second interview, which starts going in kind of a different direction. Yeah. And maybe not a great idea on the writer's part to be doing what he's doing in the interview now. I think that may come back to get him. But, again, the art here, it's just off enough in a creepy kind of way.
There's a flashback sequence that's just like, despite the fact it's for a character that you quickly come to not like, you're just like, you also kind of understand like, oh, they went through some stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's this massive twist at the end, but the whole vibe of this, the way people talk, the way that scenes are set, the way that the art and the lighting in the art is portrayed, all of it's very good. And it's if you want to have something that's Christmas thematic that is not at all like anything else, because this isn't just barbarous violence like some of the Christmas stuff that's coming out right now, and it's definitely not a sweet Christmas story about
there's
presents.
It's weird because there are like these like elements because they actually talk about Christmas in here. Like Christmas is very much in the fabric of this because they talk about like the pageantry of it.
Yeah, like, how elegant it can, and how it allows people to enjoy the pageantry and the elegance of it without being judged.
Yeah,
that was really interesting take. Yeah, it's really good. But it is basically Christmas meets Silence of the Lambs, right? They make a reference.
Yeah, they make a joke about it, which is great.
Yeah, I feel like kind of like Silence of the Lambs. I'm starting to like characters that I should not like. They're not good people, I don't think. But we'll find out. So anyway.
Yeah. Also, I believe, if I remember correctly, in here they've got ads for both World Tree is coming back.
Yeah.
I think I've mentioned this before because it's the team doing the Dracula comic right now, but Department of Truth is coming back. And then I think Titty and teasing a couple more titles in here because the man doesn't rest apparently.
Apparently not.
Just constant stuff coming from this guy.
Yeah. So good though. And so we picked 1.5 superhero. I mean, I guess God's a superhero.
Yeah.
But every week we could easily pick no superhero comics.
Yeah, like,
and I know that the people watching this,
Canary almost ended up here again.
Yeah, that's such an interesting book.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so many genres to choose from in here. It doesn't all have to be capes and tights, but there is some really good stuff being told there too. And I just don't limit yourself. You know, if you look for something that can expand your boundaries a little bit, and you're going to find something really interesting.
Because that's a misnomer. I feel like a lot of people, when they think of comics, they think like, oh, superhero comics. When honestly, at this point, just in terms of sheer number, technically speaking, there's more non-superhero books than there are. Obviously, most of what we have is going to be a lot of superhero stuff. But if you really look at it, pretty much every publisher that isn't DC or Marvel is doing non-superhero stuff.
Well, we were joking as we were looking at how many comics were going on the wall, because every week for the last 2 months we've been saying how large the selection is. A lot of that is because our readership is seeking out those non-superhero books, so that's just adding to the number of books that we're able to order and put on the shelf.
A lot of our regulars buy exclusively non-superhero stuff.
Yeah, and have a plethora to choose from. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think, a lot of people, when they think of the superhero stuff, they think of the 60s Batman show, Big Bam Pow, the corny kind of stuff and whatever. And there's very little of that. I mean, hardly any at all. But anyway, we'll be back next week. If you're doing the Christmas thing, Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays. If not, in general. And we'll have one more show before this year comes to a close, assuming that everything goes right and we don't get a massive blizzard that stops us from being here or anything. But be safe, be well, be sure to like, follow, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff, and we'll see you for the last episode of 2023 next week. Thank you all. Bye. Okay.
Do I look beautiful?
Well, you just screwed yourself.